So, Yashar, I wanted to kick this episode of the show off with a story that I have been waiting an entire fucking lifetime to tell now. Do you know what story that is I'm going to tell?
How much I hated Videodrome when we saw it together.
How and I am genuinely curious because I know what your reasoning for not liking Videodrome at the time was. Have you rewatched Videodrome since?
No, I haven't. And
really?
No, I haven't. And
interesting.
The funny thing is, I love all like the last 10, 15 years of Cronenberg stuff, like his more normal.
Say it, you bastard, say it.
Basically like Viggo era Cronenberg, but
you mean R. Pat's era Cronenberg?
Well, yeah, R. Pat's era. So, I haven't gone back and watched. I've seen a few of his older movies, but I haven't seen them in a while. And after seeing this, I definitely was like, am I getting Videodrome vibes?
You're getting vibes from a lot of...
You're getting vibes from all the old stuff.
Yeah, you're getting vibes from everything, which is obviously super intentional. But on this episode of the Kulturecast, I am joined by, once again, my good friend all the way from across the pond. I've known him longer than I've known anyone other than my own mother. My good friend, Mr. Yashar Pirasteh.
Your sister?
Doesn't count. Also doesn't count anyways for a number of reasons. And also joining me once again, your friend and mine, the host of the Wake Up Heavy podcast, a horror fan, man about town, big dog on campus over at Fresno State, Mr. Mark Begley. Junior. I'm just kidding. No junior, but Mr. Mark Begley.
I'm not very good at the old sex.
Long live the new sex. Long live the new sex. For fuck's sake.
I don't do old sex.
God. Oh my God.
Hey,
holy
Chris, all
cow.
I'm just asking is just please don't spill.
God, what a wild ass movie. So on this episode of the Kulturecast, we're talking about 2022's David Cronenberg's return to form ? Crimes of the Future.
It is time to stop seeing. It is time to listen.
A new world opens up.
You afraid of a little emotion?
Let's retrace the new sex.
They are evolving away from the human path.
I think it'll be a revelation.
Might not be quite legal.
You fill me with the desire to cut my face open. You wouldn't want to kill your performance partner, would you?
We'd have to go deep.
A legendary. Guide us into the heart of darkness. Have we just been made obsolete?
Maybe.
Are you in discomfort?
So the film stars Mr. and I'm assuming this is how you say his name. I've heard other people say it. Viggo Mortensen.
Really? What?
Yeah. I don't know. I've heard it said that way. Lea Seydoux and K-Stew, Kristen Stewart, who I love Chris. I love
There's a twitchy, nervous wreck in this movie, and I loved it.
She's just like a very like horny bureaucrat.
Yeah. So herself.
Yeah.
just like in the Diana movie, a very horny bureaucrat. That was actually the subtitle for that movie. And Viggo Mortensen plays Are we
go with the Mortensen thing?
Why not? I do
not like that.
let's go with Mortensen.
Viggo Mortensen
do not like
plays a performance artist along with Lea Seydoux. And what does he do for his performance art? Well, he has an evolutionary change that allows him to randomly create organs in his body, along with some other people in the world who have a similar problem. So some people are growing new organs, and then other people feel no pain at all.
Yeah.
Where David Cronenberg goes with this, my friends, is really anybody's guess. It's all over the place, and it's once again a David Cronenberg movie. So I want to give Mr. Begley you the floor, because we talked about what we were going to record this week, and this is what came up. And you hadn't seen it yet, though.
No, I hadn't seen it, but I was looking forward to watching it. I remember a couple of years ago, Viggo Mortensen kind of teased that he and Cronenberg were working on something that was a return to form, and that piqued my interest. Of course, then the pandemic came around, and probably most people assumed, well, that's not going to happen anytime soon. But during one of those lulls in the pandemic, quote unquote lulls,
right?
They production got kicked off in Greece, and then it was like, oh, okay, this is really happening. And when the title was released, and how it is the title of an old student film of his, I started thinking, oh, he's really going back to his origins here, or that's what I was assuming. And then as time went on, hearing more about the storyline and what we're getting into, thought, yeah, okay, so that's where we're going. And then when it came out, seeing people talk about it on Twitter and mentioning growing new organs, and that makes me think of Shivers. That's what that movie is about in a different way, but that's basically what they do in that movie, is create a new organ to perform certain functions. It goes awry, but
it's also kind of like Scanners.
Right. And then watching it, you can see the nods to Shivers, Rabid, Scanners, Videodrome,
The Fly,
Naked Lunch, even.
Oh yeah, Naked Lunch.
Some of the creatures.
Naked Lunch, big time.
And that's what I was expecting when we talked before I had watched it. I thought, is this going to be one of those things like the Twin Peaks Return deal, where David Lynch kind of hits on his whole career in this one? Of course, he had a lot longer time to do it, 18 plus hours to do that in. But you see those nods in Twin Peaks The Return, all the way back to short films, Eraserhead, Blue Velvet, so on and so forth. And that happens here too. And I was happy to see that.
What about you, Yashar? You're the new movie watchers among the group normally. You're the one who consistently watches new movies. This happens to just be a new Cronenberg movie. So was this going to be something you watched anyways?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you may not know this, but I may be Viggo Mortensen's #1 fan. I'm like obsessed with him.
I know that. So I remember that.
Yeah, Hidalgo's underrated. So
what? Also, I do want to point out for the people at home, and I don't know if you're noticing this, Mark, for whatever reason, Yashar has a Max Headroom thing going on right now, unintentionally.
Oh, what?
You're like,
oh, I'm not seeing it. Yeah.
It's like you're like, shh. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like, it's slowed down as you're moving. So it's like, you're still talking. I don't know. It's doing it.
I'm on the table. I gotta eat like this.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta eat your fucking spoon fed by your monster.
Yeah. So I wanted to love this movie. Like, I really wanted to just like love it. I don't know how I felt about it. I think it's an interesting premise. What if people couldn't feel pain? What would we do with that? And Cronenberg's answer is just fuck ourselves up with like really weird surgeries, because why not? You can't feel the pain. As far as plot goes, it's a bit nonsensical. Things just happen, and like there's a lot of things that are just unexplained, which is fine. I think the performances are good. The main ones, I still think the cop was really bad. Like, I just didn't really get him. But the main three, Lea Seydoux was like bizarre, obsessed. Viggo's always good. And then Kristen Stewart's horny bureaucrat was an interesting thing to watch. I feel like some of the sets looked really cheap. Like the chair that they sat on, like the eating chair, just looked like something like, I don't know, someone made it as a project. It kind of took me out of it. There was weird choices, like with the costumes. Like he looked like someone got a Palpatine costume, but like from Party City.
I don't know what was going on in this. Like,
and then he had this mask on, and I was like, oh, is it because of COVID? But then he would just have a mask on randomly and then take it off when talking to people, so it wasn't even like consistent. There was just like
it was for his allergies. I didn't catch a lot of it when I watched it last week. I put it on real early in the morning, had the house open up and all the fans in our house on, trying to suck in cool air from outside. Yeah. And my daughter was asleep still. So I, for some reason, didn't bother to turn on the closed caption till about halfway through. And I'm like, is this explained? Because I'm missing half the dialogue. Yeah. Why is he in this get up? Today, when I watched it, I realized, he's one of the people that can still feel pain, obviously, because that's why he has that orchid pod bed. And I mean, he's in pain for most of the movie because of the organs that are growing in him and all the changes his body is putting him through or is being put through. But he mentions at one point he has allergies. And so to me, that explained the mask. So when he's out or in unfamiliar places, he usually has it on and then he'll pull it off to talk.
Okay.
It may have been a cover for a COVID thing, though, because this is a COVID movie and you get that feeling when you're watching it. It'll be really interesting to see 20 years down the road, the crop of movies that were actually produced in this time period, how people will respond to some of the strangeness that it causes unintentionally. My daughter and I watched the new Firestarter, and it's so obviously a pandemic film. It's almost, we looked at each other and kind of went, this was obviously filmed during the pandemic. It's mostly scenes with 2 or 3 people at a unnatural distance from each other, or, if there's 2 shots, it's like they probably filmed a lot of reaction shots when other people weren't even there. You can kind of get to feel that. And I did feel it in this. I mean, the use of a lot of that, the sets, the rundown buildings and things. It's kind of like, this is what we've got. Let's make it work. I'm glad none of it was explained, because that would be worse. But yeah, I tried to not let that bother me with this movie, because I thought, man, what are you going to do?
Yeah, well, the one thing that stood out in my mind, the scene where the ear guy is dancing, and there's this woman speaking, and then he's just like crouching in the corner next to this pipe, and I'm like, why is he basically just sitting in like the garbage area? Like there's like weird choices like that that I don't know, maybe I was overanalyzing, but it's just like, not that Cronenberg always makes sense, but they were just like bizarre choices.
There were some things in this movie that were, I am actually a little inclined to agree that I think there is some stuff in this movie where I was like, maybe pull it back just a tad. But again, like, I feel like some of it may have to do with it being COVID content.
Yeah, maybe.
It's just like, we don't know what, like, in some respects, we can't do much. In some respects, maybe you should wait to make the movie then. I don't know. Again, the movie, the way it was written, which I assume is the movie that we got, because it's written by and directed by the same person, was a 3 to 5 person movie anyways. So maybe this is, it is COVID content, but at the same time, there are literally 3 actors in this movie of note.
Yeah, the crouching thing, I just assumed that he was trying to not be seen by people, like he was sort of there viewing the competition, and the performance art world was, they don't get into it too much, but they seem to be at odds with some of the other performers and things, and like everybody is them and the I don't know if they're doctors, but the people at the National Organ Registry, Kristen Stewart is Timlin, and then the other guy Whippet, like they're not supposed to be at any of these things.
Right.
But they're always there. And it felt like he didn't want to be seen. It is odd. It's an odd choice to have him crouched by that pipe. But that's what
the whole National Organ Registry thing was weird too. Like, I rewatched the first 10-15 minutes like twice, and I was like, they just kind of go there. Like it's not really explained, and they're just like, all right, it's not like, oh, we've been documenting these, let's go, I don't know, share. It seems like they went there because ultimately they wanted to share his organs with the public or something like that. That was my interpretation. But just like how they got from point A to point B, just was like the movie just happened. Like
it's not very well set up. That's the problem. Like go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, they mentioned the like inner beauty contest, and that just kind of goes nowhere. I was like, that sounds kind of interesting, and then the 2 technicians randomly become like killers, but they don't. It's a lot of ideas. I just don't know how well it was executed.
Well, and that's, for me, that's kind of, I think, the crux of my criticism with this movie, frankly, is it feels like 2 different movies. It feels like there is a movie where it's a guy afflicted with this organ thing, and he's undercover in this world of organs for the cops. And then there's the performance art thing, which is its own commentary in and of itself. And for me, I know which story they put more effort into. It's the performance art one for sure.
Yeah.
I know which story is the more interesting and exciting narrative to tell. It's the cop one, especially with this story. And the problem is they tried to fuse the two. And in doing so, like you mentioned, there are things that just I don't even know what the characters' motivations were to do that. I guess they were baddies or something, or
you find out later that these people that, eat plastic and they want to say like, we're the new human, like new evolution. So it was also unclear, like, are they planning on like mass poisoning people, or they want people to convert? And if they convert, like there was almost like a climate change type of thing there. Like, are they saying like, this is the future because like the world's so fucked up? Because there isn't like an intimation that also like the climate and stuff has gotten worse in the near future.
Right. And there's not enough food, I guess.
Or something.
Yeah.
And so so I'm like, okay, you can make this like interesting. Okay, humanity's messed up the environment so much that actually eating plastic makes sense. And there's like a subgroup that like wants to do that. And like I said, the cops going through and trying to make sure they don't murder people to convert, like balancing, okay, maybe it's going to make them a good place, but they're doing it a little culty like. That was interesting. That could have been an interesting story. And then, they obviously put a lot of emphasis on the performance art thing, which is maybe more traditional Cronenberg, like back in the day, like the kind of thing he would make.
That's what it felt like. Like that was like very much like, this is early Cronenberg, like on display. Like this is like, he's taking to task this idea through the usage of they don't feel pain, self-surgery thing or body modification. But what I guess, what is he saying? Like, that's what I can't figure out. It's like he's trying to say, honestly, it feels like he's trying to say 8 things at once.
I guess, there are confusing parts. And I thought a lot of my confusion the first time was just by the way I watched it. I was a little less confused today when I rewatched it. I guess what I took from like the plastic eaters, that whole B plot with Scott Speedman as the dad, is that, and it's not really explicitly said throughout, but there's some problem with stating that humans are entering a new phase of evolution.
Right.
Like that's what the cop is battling against.
Right. They're against the transcending of humans past what could be defined as human.
Right. So the new organs are repeatedly stated to be basically vestigial organs. They grow, but they're of no real use. Except, okay, this kid had organs that were useful. They allowed him to eat the plastic that's toxic to anybody else. That's why he wanted to have the autopsy, to show this new set of organs, to show people that, hey, don't fight against what your body's doing. Go with it. And that's basically what he tells Tinser. He said, you've got this breakfast eater chair to help you eat. Well, what if by eating this, you get rid of that problem? You're trying to solve your body's, or what you see as your body's battle with you as a bad thing. I'm telling you, just go with it. It's changing. Let it change. So for me, it felt like all the disparate parts fit that narrative. We're taking a step into whatever it is, whether it's eating plastic or if some of these organs perform other functions that help us live in the shit world that we're creating, then you need to let it happen instead of fighting against it or using all these instruments to help you function in everyday life. He's got that chair to help him eat and digest. He's got the bed to help monitor his pain that keeps him moving all night long, depending on what's happening inside his body.
Right.
So I feel like the overarching idea works in each of those things, but it's hard to see what the connections are. It is confusing because we're not given a lot of exposition, which I kind of like. I don't want to be told, well, this is why they're going here, or this is why these people are doing this. I don't understand those 2 gals that work at the...
No.
That's the biggest question I have in the entire movie.
That wouldn't make any sense. They kill the guy who's setting up the the game show that he's supposed to enter.
Well, no, but they also kill the
Scott
father.
Speedman.
Yeah,
but they're not. But the cop explicitly said, it'd be one thing if they were also undercover agents. Like that seems like an obvious through line. But the cop's like, nope. Like the cop's basically like, I don't know who they are. Like he's basically the cop is like the audience. Like I don't know. They happen to be here.
And they killed him.
Yeah.
This is kind of like what happens in Videodrome and even in Scanners. Things are pretty muddy in those movies too.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of that had to do with how those films were made. They were getting that funding from the government, and you had to use that money before the end of the year. So a lot of times Canada would just produce all these films between October and December. And Cronenberg would get stuck in this position where he's got all this production money and an unfinished script. And that's true of many of his films, especially those Scanners and Videodrome. And if you watch those pieces don't all connect either.
That's why I didn't like Videodrome.
With Videodrome, you have these different factions, and even one of the guys that he's working with at that TV station, it double crossing him, and you never know where anybody stands.
Yep.
And I kind of think that's just part of his shtick now, where everybody's presenting a false front and doing something the opposite. What those gals are doing, why they're assassinating people, I don't know if they're also working against this idea of human evolution or not. But I don't know, that kind of stuff doesn't bother me in his films. I just take it as this is Cronenberg.
I think the thing that bothers me about that is it's not because like he has actually a bunch of narratively like pretty simple to follow movies with Viggo Mortensen in the past that are so like, it'd be one thing if you said like, oh, he's incapable or can't, but it's like, no, he actually is totally capable of doing it. Like just because you have a body horror element in it doesn't mean you can't have a script that follows point A to point B. So I think that's where I struggle a bit, because it's like he's shown actually numerous times he can have a quite strong script that is
and a
like,
straightforward narrative. Like The Fly. Like The Fly is a rather straightforward narrative. There's very little. I mean, there's kind of musings on things, but I would say this movie is very close to Videodrome. Like,
that's
of the Cronenberg movies that I can think of, this is essentially as close to Videodrome as he's done. It just feels like Videodrome in a lot of ways, but I think the problem, honestly, the other problem for me is I don't think this world is as interesting as the world of Videodrome is. The things that he's talking about and asking us to ponder they're bigger questions, but for me, they're not as interesting questions. I like the idea of perception and reality being defined through the lens of the media and asking about that. I like those questions more, which is why Videodrome is one of my favorite movies anyways, because I like what he talks about and what he kind of has to say about that. In this movie, I get what he's saying. I just think for me, ultimately, it's not a topic where I was like, what does David Cronenberg think? Or tell me what you think. It's like, okay, like I agree.
There's an interesting thing. It's like, what he's saying is the only thing stopping us from like true self-destruction or whatever is just the fact that like it's the physiological aspect of it. It's like, 'cause we're always craving more and more and more. And like, what's the, once we've ruined the environment or the world around us, like what other things are there to consume? And it's ourselves. So like, maybe there's an interesting thing to be said there. Like with people, I mean, we do see some people like self-mutilate. It's not super common, but there's like small, factions that exist that do stuff like that already. So the question is like, if you remove the pain threat aspect, it's obviously not all of society, but like, a decent contingent of it engage in it this way. So maybe that's an interesting question. 'Cause like, you're like, oh, there's no way. But then you stop and like, well, I don't know. People actually might. I could see people doing that.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's an interesting question.
Yeah.
What happens if nobody can feel pain? Like,
yeah. So I found that to be interesting in the context of like, maybe it's not as unrealistic as it seems, but yeah, it is like, okay, that's an idea. And then you have this other thing about this evolution and like cops, and maybe there's like a good or evil dichotomy, but it's unclear. And it also I think the thing that also hurts is like with the Scott Speedman stuff is like, I can't tell if I'm supposed to feel sad for him because his son is killed by his wife in a horrible way. Obviously that's bad, but like, I'm like, is he is he a terrorist, or is he like well-intentioned, but just like, because it is kind of hinting at both. So I wasn't really sure how I'm supposed to feel about this character who ends up being relatively important in the second half of the film. So I struggled to connect fully.
Well, I think, again, for me, it's his message is accept what's happening to you. This is supposed to happen. And ultimately, the end of the film, the last shot of the film, proves him right.
I understand his.
I don't think he appears to be. It looks like he's up to no good. He lets that guy eat the bar and watches him
mass producing
them. They're mass producing them for the people that can eat them, though. And at some point, I never got the impression that he was trying to get other people, the rest of the world, to
but here's the thing, because they can just eat plastic raw. Like, why do they need to make the bars? Like, the bars are like a way of obfuscating what it is. And maybe you're right. Maybe they just like the candy bars. But it seemed odd to me that he would have like bought this facility, have these people essentially like workers. And that's what I'm saying. It was unclear. So if what you're saying is correct, then it's I think.
Well, it's not necessarily correct. That's how I took it. His son can eat plastic because he's evolved to. They need to produce this because to make it digestible for them. That's how again, that's my assumption. They're not producing acidic drool that will eat through a waste paper basket like the kid.
Like the fly.
Right.
Oh my God damn. That was like, he makes a acidic drool that he spits on things, and it's just also like, God, did they just take this directly from the dialogue of the fly?
The opening of the movie was wild too.
Yeah. Oh my God. And this is the third movie.
It started out strong. I was like, ooh, that's rough.
Smothering of a child. It reminded me of the beginning of Men, where it's just like,
I haven't seen that yet.
It opens pretty rough, just like this movie, just like Midsummer. But that's the thing about this movie that I do appreciate is, honestly, with the purple candy bars, I could see either interpretation makes sense, because then on one hand, it's like, yeah, they're making it for all the people that can. But then in my mind, I have a question of, is the candy bar in some way a catalyst for all of this anyways? Because they never answer that. But at the end of the movie, you see him eating the bar, and he has this like seeing of the light, like seeing of God moment. I mean, you see Viggo Mortensen's face like he has seen God, because the chair stops moving.
He's ecstatic.
Yeah. The chair stops moving, and he can
digest it.
Right. Finally, he can digest food.
Is the implication, we're talking about the ending already? Continue. Is the implication he actually was the first natural born person that can consume? Because remember, the whole thing is the son, Scott Speedman's son, was the first person with the organs that could consume plastic. But I interpret the ending is actually like Viggo is actually the first person born that can consume plastic.
I don't think so, because everybody's seen his insides. So he has a normal digestive system for all intents and purposes.
He did when they removed all the other stuff.
Well, the organs that they removed, though, are just like worthless.
But the question I have is, they mention
the boys look like.
But they also mention.
We don't.
The question that I have is, at one point, is Kristen Stewart implying, and there's their question that's being raised, if they left those organs alone, would they become something on their own? And again, it's like,
that's what she's getting at.
Right, which is pretty
weird discussion that they have.
Pretty on the nose.
The mouth fingering.
Yeah.
That whole scene was great. Just constantly backing up away from her. I can't do the old sex.
Again, it's like David Cronenberg is opening up a lot of boxes here and asking you to kind of sort through them on your own, and I appreciate that about him, because again, like, that's Videodrome essentially in a nutshell.
And that's Men too. I don't need it spoon fed in my breakfast eater chair for me, you know?
Yeah.
Some stuff is going to fall. Like, I totally agree that it is confusing and there are unanswered questions. Some people may have answers for those questions. Why were Router and Burst killing these people? I'd need to watch it probably 2 or 3 more times to understand what their motivation is. But again, I guess it's just being sort of used to his early stuff. That's the stuff that I watch the most.
Yeah.
And they all have instances of either leaps in logic or even in Rabid, there's a whole scene that he cut out that clearly explains the thing that happens to the lead in that when she gets via a transplant. They take part of her stomach and they transplant it under her arm to heal this wound up. But he cut that scene out, so no one understands why she has this in her armpit now. And so why would you cut that out and explain that? Well, I mean,
yeah,
so saying
maybe to make it more confusing.
A better editor,
Well,
it could be on purpose.
And I think that's again, for me, like I said, I see exactly what he's going for here. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of all of his of stuff like Videodrome and The Fly. And again, as someone who has seen his more recent stuff, also, like we all have, this is a step backwards if this is not the kind of Cronenberg you're into. But it's not step backward. I think it's more of a sidestep back into this world of things where it's a less traditional narrative. But again, your expectation, Yashar, is going to be more traditional narrative. It's got Viggo Mortensen in it. And then it is like Videodrome in the presentation of what it's going for. And he doesn't ask you what you think. He just shows you what he thinks and says, fucking deal with it. And it's very, Lynch is the same way. It's like, I'm not going to explain a singular fucking thing to you. And even if you ask me outside of the narrative of this, you ask me in an interview, I won't even tell you. Because again, what's important are the conversations we're having, not who's right. Again, the director's intention is one thing. You can be right or wrong about the director's intention, but we're not really we're just discussing intention, but we're also discussing ambiguity left in the script. I would assume, Mark, as you would, and Yashar, intentional ambiguity.
Yeah, and there was an interesting thing I read online where some people were saying, like, is Saul Tenser almost an analog for Cronenberg himself, like an aging artist with esoteric interests, kind of adored by many, like, Lea
what is
Seydoux
the
was, like,
usage? What is the usage of being a movie director? You're creating something vestigial and quote useless.
What's the use of a film?
Right, it's vestigial and useless.
I mean, I don't know if I would have gone that far, but that's potentially a reading. Sure,
that's an interesting reading. I mean,
I like it actually.
It's an interesting, valid reading of that part of it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think there was a lot of like, again, this is going to be hot button shit, but like, there's a lot of like government overreach over a person's body.
Yeah.
That goes back to Scanners, Videodrome.
Right.
I mean,
the actual original title of this movie, I think, was actually Roe v. Wade 2.
I think the original title for the movie was Painkillers, wasn't it?
I think original script way back
20 years ago.
Something years ago.
I feel like he does a lot of this like meta. It's meta, right? Like the stuff, like all the self-referential stuff's pretty meta. And then the title of the movie is the most meta part. Because
it's the title of another movie, but it's not a remake. It's just a completely different movie with the same title.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I guess supposedly Existenz was going to be called Crimes of the Future. So that's I understand it. I've reused Wake Up Heavy a number of times. So
I think for me, like the themes that I liked, I also like the Kristen Stewart kind of the way I interpreted her was like a religious zealot in a way. Cause like she lets her own personal beliefs. Well, she also lets her own personal beliefs get in the way of reality.
Yeah.
And the way of progress. People are letting their own personal beliefs get in the way of progress. Where have we heard that before? There is like in Men, Mark, I think you would agree, there's a little bit of on the noseness in this movie. Maybe a bit of on the noseness in some scenes.
And again, that's pretty common, I think, for early Cronenberg.
Videodrome, so much of it's just like bang, 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 right on the nose. Constantly.
Scanners. They're not covert criticisms that he's going for here. It's pretty. He
had a character that's essentially Marshall McLuhan in Videodrome.
Right.
The biggest TV like critic and the analyst at the time, like, and you have him like essentially as a character in your movie. Like you're not you're not really leaving any subtlety, but that's okay. Sometimes the lack of subtlety is just as important as having to be feeling you need to be subtle. So it's a fine line to walk.
I was going to say his organizational names are usually very on the nose as well.
Oh yeah.
And they don't get too heavy into it here, but New Vice, Vice, National Organ Registry isn't really a clever on the nose name, but if you go through his early films, all the either the government agencies or the businesses are all very
convex.
I think that's part of his humor. And I sometimes think that people forget that that his films are very humorous. It's a really weird, dry, droll humor. The first time I saw him sitting in that chair in this, I laughed. I didn't laugh because I thought it was ridiculous. I laughed because I thought that to me is a joke. That is a David Cronenberg joke. The way that he, trying to sit in that chair and rock back and forth and eat with this spoon and stuff. I just thought that was hysterical.
It is pretty funny. I mean, again, you're hitting the nail completely on the head. I consider Videodrome to be in a lot of ways a dark, like pitch black comedy, because it is like it's really about what happens when you lose yourself to the perceived reality. And in a lot of ways, The Fly is kind of a black comedy in a lot of ways. Like, be careful what you wish for. Fear,
Shivers and Rabbit are too.
Yeah,
if you take a step back and kind of clue in on some of the dialogue and stuff, you'll see that he's having some fun.
Right, and you know what? That is one of the things that does come through outside of the kind of the plot and the intricacies of the plot and what's going on in the movie. Like you mentioned, Yashar, Viggo Mortensen is just, what a fucking phenomenal actor. Like, seriously, just like,
go.
I mean, he doesn't probably get enough credit, honestly, because he really picks the stuff he works on. Like he's really specific with what he works on.
Yeah. He likes doing kind of generally not actually, like, since Return of the King, he's done some mainstream movies, but it's mostly like actually indie fare or like a lot of these like modern Cronenberg movies. He has a very specific thing he likes to do, and I think it's just like something always a little different, a little odd. We also didn't really talk about Lea Seydoux, who had a very interesting performance. I liked it. It's just weird.
Yeah, she was quirky too. I loved it. But Viggo Mortensen's line readings in this movie it just blew me away. I haven't seen him in a ton of stuff, but that whole deal with his throat, and I thought, this is going to drive me crazy. But it didn't really. It just became part of the character. And it seemed like he thought about every line that it came out of his mouth. I mean, as the character himself, and there's a lot of really dry, droll responses. And that I think goes to what you're saying about him being a Cronenberg stand-in. But yeah, he was great in this, and Lea Seydoux and Kristen Stewart too. I just loved her twitchy performance, Kristen Stewart.
Yeah. And you said Kristen Stewart was like a zealot, but I actually think Lea Seydoux is more, I mean, not that it's a competition, but I think the zealot fit her character a little bit more closely. Like she was like almost worshiping him. And like, it was interesting, their relationship, because it's heavily implied to be romantic. And I think it is romantic, but like they also always explain themselves like working partners, which I found interesting. I mean, it could have just been a artistic choice, but, and she's obviously significantly younger than him. So it does seem almost like they found each other, and like she loves him, not really for him, not saying she doesn't love, but it's for like the work he produces. Like that's what she loves about him, is because like he is this quote unquote artist, and she loves that. Like, I think my guess is if he didn't have the organ thing, she probably wouldn't really have interest in being with him. Same actually about Kristen Stewart, for that matter. Like Kristen Stewart's almost like part one and would evolve into Lea Seydoux.
She would take her place if she could.
And the Caprice character not falls in love, but connects with him because of his insides. The first time they meet, he's all cut up, as she says, and she puts him back together, and they just keep doing that. So, and I guess that's implying his former life as a cop, because she says on duty or something to that effect. Yeah, that was one of the things I missed the first time. And then I was like, oh, okay. That's how they know each other.
The other weird thing was like he does all this thing undercover without telling her, which is also like, how could she not know? / why wouldn't he tell her? But it was, and it never went anywhere. Like that was, I think, it just never went anywhere. Like her not knowing about the undercover thing. But we did get probably the best oral sex on screen
this year.
Zipper sex.
The best oral sex on screen since the head gave head in Reanimator. God. You know what that reminded me of? One thing, right? Right, it's Videodrome. It's Videodrome.
Oh yeah.
Let's just go in a different direction.
It's not a vagina, it's a pocket this time.
Yeah.
It's a kangaroo pouch. I mean, and again, I think Yashar, you mentioned the whole taking it as Cronenberg's stand-in as Viggo Mortensen with all the meta stuff in this movie. I mean, that's right there. Like he's showing it to you in like every other scene. I mean, that kid eating that trash can, all I could think of was The Fly. And then they go as far as to straight up just say it like 20 minutes later. Like, he's got acidic drool. Fuck, where's Jeff Goldblum when you need him? But that's the thing. It feels almost like in a lot of ways he's trying to kind of merge those two almost disparate styles of movies too. You could go as far as to say that this is Cronenberg attempting to please fans like yourself, Yashar, and then fans like, again, Mark and I, or again, it's again, there are people that would never, who watched Eastern Promises, that would watch this movie and go, what the fuck is this?
Yeah,
oh, absolutely.
And that's not their fault, because their expectation is something vastly different, because very, very few directors can oscillate this hard and nail it on both ends. And that's what you said, Yashar. It is surprising, because most directors are just like pigeonholed as the guy who makes the weirdo movies, but it's like, no, you can tell a completely competent, rather straightforward narrative, and one that's based on another property.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, Crimes of the Future almost does sound like a cool sci-fi, maybe slightly horror-esque movie, which it's this thing that the film gives a lot of like runtime and lip service to, but really like doesn't care about it. So
the organs,
like the Scott Speedman.
Oh, okay, sure.
Like cop stuff. I don't know if I would have liked the movie more, but it's just like you're taking an odd concept, something that's a bit hard to follow, and adding this extra layer of complexity that ultimately I'm not sure added to the movie as a whole.
I think it could have been narratively pared down a little bit, but again, then you're expecting it to be a more contemporary Cronenberg movie and less a kind of classic movie.
I'm saying actually, just focus purely
right. But I mean, I think the point is like this is a throwback to what he's done before, so he's allowed to get messy, and he's painting outside the lines pretty broadly. And there is stuff that that's why I like OG Cronenberg, is because he's just like, I'm just going to do whatever.
I think he has a hard time reining in ideas, and you can go through at least from Scanners on and say that was a problem. Scanners and Videodrome, particularly, even The Brood, that's a little more focused. But again, it was always a time issue, and this may have suffered from the same kind of thing. Like he's had the script for a long time, but it's like now we have a window. It's not the greatest window of opportunity to get this made, but let's get it made. It's been sitting around for 20 something years. And not that had a part in any of the confusing material or anything, but I don't know. It par for the course for me. And it's interesting to me to hear a different angle, someone coming from later Cronenberg, because I'm considerably older than you two. So it was always contemporary Cronenberg for me was Scanners, Videodrome, which spooked me as a kid. I didn't watch it for a long time, but The Fly was the first movie of his that I saw in the theater. Dead Zone, I watched a lot on video, but that's such a different Cronenberg film, being an adaptation.
I haven't seen Dead Zone, but that's like pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah, it's a straightforward narrative. It's a Stephen King story, and it doesn't veer off in wide directions. But so it's interesting to me because I haven't seen. I think my wife and I watched not Eastern Promises. What's the other one?
History of Violence.
History of Violence.
Yeah,
and I've missed many of the other ones. I haven't seen Existenz yet. I haven't seen Spider, which I asked you to get, Chris. So I'll be watching that one pretty soon. I'll be watching Existenz. I saw Map to the Stars because Sam Deegan told me I needed to watch it when we talked about The Brood, and I did, and I really liked it. Yeah, I did. I started to watch Cosmopolis, and I stopped about 10 minutes in. It's a
messy one.
Something wasn't hitting me right on that, but I'll give that one another shot. And I need to see Eastern Promises all the way through. I've caught bits and pieces of it on cable, but I haven't ever caught it at the beginning to watch it straight through.
Yeah. But Most Dangerous Mind is good too. The Freud. With I think it's Fassbender, Keira Knightley, and Viggo.
Mm-hmm.
Forgot he made that movie.
Yeah. There's a couple in there that I like. I don't really have any interest in seeing in Butterfly, but I wanted to squeeze in a lot of the early films, and I really wanted to watch Existenz since I hadn't, and I'm seeing people mention the similarities there.
It's the design choices.
This last week has just been fucked as far as work and stuff, so I didn't get to watch any other Cronenberg. But this was the first one that I was like, yes, I'm going to go to the theater. I don't think it came here, unfortunately, and things have been crazy anyway. But I'm like, ooh, this might actually get me back in the theater for the first time in 2 years.
Yeah.
We all know the best David Cronenberg role is in Nightbreed.
He's
fun in Nightbreed.
He's in a little movie called, what is it called? Disappearance at Clifton Hill or something to that effect. Right. I think it's on Netflix right now. It was on Hulu a while ago, and he plays a podcaster in it, which just made me laugh. But he's pretty good. I like.
Pretty good in Nightbreed. He's great.
Oh, yeah, he's good in Nightbreed.
Yeah,
he's good in To Die For.
Never seen it.
What about To Die 5?
Get out of here. Gus Van Sant, another Gus Van Sant movie.
Yep.
God, I looking at David Cronenberg stuff from the 80s. I haven't seen all of the big stuff. I've never seen Scanners. It's on my list of movies to watch.
It's messy. It's messy like this.
Yeah.
It gets confusing and convoluted, and the acting is not great. But, if you were a kid and saw that head exploding on the cover of Fangoria, you wanted to watch it.
It's Michael Ironsides. I like Michael Ironsides.
Yeah. He's not in it all that much, but he's great in it. The lead is probably the biggest drawback for me in that. He's pretty... Not great. So good. Pretty not great. Yeah.
And I love The Fly. Like, as much as I love Videodrome, and I always say it's my favorite Cronenberg, I think The Fly is his best made film.
It's a classic.
Yeah. And it's scary and it's gross, and I'm not sure it asks much of the audience, but it doesn't necessarily have to. And, it could be seen as a parable for infection and disease. And I guess the easy one at the time was AIDS, but it's death and dying and cancer and wasting away and all of those horrible things you want to think about, with Jeff Goldblum becoming a human fly. So,
yeah,
I love that movie. Like that, that's honestly the issue with this movie is, and we've talked about this before, Mark, don't bring up better movies in your movie, because you just make me want to watch those movies instead. We've talked about that all the time. When directors are getting like little like tongue, cheek, wink, self-referential, it's like, don't reference The Fly, because I would rather watch The Fly. No matter how good this movie is, it's not going to be The Fly. Come on. Nothing can be The Fly. The Fly is an amazing, like I said, it's a classic, genuine classic.
What if Jeff Goldblum showed up at the end running from velociraptors?
What if Jeff Goldblum just showed up at the end of this movie and was like, whatever, who cares anymore?
What's wrong with eating plastic?
Right. Yeah. What is the deal here? I eat plastic all the time. And you know what, though? Yashar, you and I long ago used to have discussions about the ending of Videodrome. And I think the ending of Videodrome, I guess, is maybe ambiguous. It is, sure. This movie, I think, is a lot less ambiguous. And I appreciated that, because I like seeing that this is the final transformative moment that the movie has been leading up to. And we do get to see it. And we get to see it somewhat diegetically within the film itself, which I also appreciated, because they kind of made a point to like show the difference between what they're seeing and what's being presented and what they're presenting to people. And I liked that. It was clever right there at the end. Go figure with David Cronenberg.
Yeah, I think I guess we did have slightly different interpretations, but my interpretation, like him being the original evolved human, like maybe I'm misreading it, but I did like appreciate that ending.
I'm not sure you can misread this movie. It's there's kind of a lot going on, there's a fair amount of stuff going on in this movie. And Cronenberg kind of, again, in a way that only he can really do, along with a couple other directors, just gives you a lot to chew on and says, just chew on it. Just go for it.
Here's her plastic chocolate.
Pun intended.
Yeah. I was expecting that there was going to be a aspect of eating the organs after they came out. Like, I was expecting there to be some sort of cannibalism thing. I was waiting for it. I was like, they just
put it in a specimen jar and look at it.
I mean, in that world, I'm sure someone's eating those organs.
Yeah, that's fair. That is
probably
fair.
that Whippet guy.
Yeah.
Ooh, he brought a new organ. Come on, Timlin.
Yeah.
Let's dig in. I like that guy too.
Yeah.
I don't know who he is. I liked him.
I just realized one scene absolutely made no sense with the cop interviews the organ people about Tensor going there, but like Tensor works for him. So like, why would you just go to Tensor? It's only there to like wait one scene for us to realize Tensor's a cop. Like if you like think about it.
I felt like he was trying to out them because they say that they're part of the new Vice unit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they are.
I think he's trying to figure out if they're doing stuff they're not supposed to be doing, which they are. They're going to those shows and things. And he says, I'm not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
But I can't stay away. Yeah. It's a lot of who are you working for? Why are it? At some points, it feels like they're all working for the same thing, but then they're not.
They're not. Yeah. And Kristen Stewart already works for him. So like, why is he interviewing her?
Right. Which is complete like that. And that's my favorite part of the ending. It's like, oh, and Kristen Stewart did this. It's like off screen completely like, oh,
Kristen Stewart did a full surgery, organ replacement, and left no cuts on the kid.
It was just like, holy shit. Like, man, the movie just like, that's just exposition wrap up right.
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah. Holy shit movie. Like what?
Again, I took that as her. You're talking about her being kind of an acolyte. Like I took that. She kept saying how much she wanted to get involved in this world.
Yeah.
And so I took that as her taking the opportunity to perform this surgery. Like he roped her in and got her to do that. Again, it's a missing chunk. There's no way really to know. That's just me kind of speculating on a hypothesis. And, that was a point that I was confused about that first time. I was confused as to why the dad was upset when they cut him open. And I'm like,
I was too.
I assumed the tattoos made me think, oh, this kid has different insides. I don't know I couldn't tell that they weren't
supposed to. Yeah, it wasn't
abnormal or normal because they have, they were covered in tattoos. The tattoos that Tensor mentioned to Caprice that she should do on his organs. So I don't know how, what's her name found out about that, but all of the ones that he said, why don't you just do an anchor or skull and crossbones or mother? And that's exactly what was on that kid's organs. But I was like, why is dad upset? Why is Scott Speedman's character upset? And then realized, oh, they're just normal organs, I guess, or
are they his organs?
The assumption is that they're not.
There may be tints. It doesn't really matter whose they are. It's just like
they're not the organs that
they're not
the plastic.
The kids. Yeah.
Okay.
That was the thing.
That's all that mattered. So like that they were just trying to be like, it's like, oh, I've got this God particle in the jar, and then it's like, no, you don't actually have a God particle in the jar. Well, it's just a light instead.
It wasn't even about. The point wasn't that the organs aren't for plastic. The point was that the organs weren't naturally occurring. So the implication was this kid had been modified much younger, and
to eat plastic.
Not that he was born to eat plastic, and Scott Speedman's character, his whole thing was like, no, it's completely natural. Like we've evolved this way, and the fact they were tattooed shows no, it's just another like human intervention, therefore nullifying his whole point about this being the ultimate form of human evolution.
But not even the ultimate form, just the next
just a step. Yeah, just a step into the evolution, which it feels like everybody's working against.
Right.
The cops are, the National Organ Registry. She catches herself. Kristen Stewart stops herself from saying evolution a couple times, or at least one time.
Right.
I said evolution, but I didn't. And that is what they're afraid of and what they want to stop.
And in my mind, it's just in my mind, I think the biggest 1,000-yard view is this is just talking about social change and how does social change take root and how do people in government or law enforcement or society stop change from happening. And that's
just
all
going on right now.
Right. Exactly. Which is going on right now. And we can look outside and see how it's happening. And then look at this movie and say, well, look, we're seeing a 1-to-1. It's not like identical, but it's the same idea. Don't say, I won't say it. So therefore it's not happening, or we'll hide the evidence of it happening. Therefore it didn't happen, or we'll enforce it a certain way. So therefore it's not happening. It's like, we see all examples of that in this movie. Yeah. And again, is it a little on the nose? Sure. Was it a little on the nose in Men with the similar idea with the treatment of women by men? Sure. But sometimes those broad ass topics need an unsubtle form of transportation to get you there. Like, it really doesn't need to be subtle.
It's even more on the nose though right now, which they couldn't necessarily have anticipated
at all.
Because just think about recent Supreme Court rulings and
which one?
State government rulings. You can't say this, can't do that, can't treat this.
Yeah.
And that wasn't happening when they were filming. We're working towards that, but it's almost providential that when this, or at least when we were able to see it happening right at the time when shit like this is going on.
It's very topical, sure. Unfortunately topical.
It's maybe somewhat intentionally, but not this much intentionally topical. Like it's coincidentally topical.
Yeah. It felt, watching this movie, the things that felt coincidentally topical felt really shitty to have to watch in a movie, because watching it in real life is bad enough.
Yeah.
And then the movie's like, oh, but wait, it could be like this instead. Same thing, even just as bad. Like, people are less human because they've evolved further. Wow.
But there's an interesting idea there, though. Like, if they evolve further, because people have evolved and they don't feel pain, or they can continue growing organs and feel pain, but they're so considered human. They're saying, well, if they basically completely change what they consume and subsist on, then they're no longer human. And then you have this clear out group. And as we know, humans don't respond well to out groups. So like, you can almost look at it from almost a paternalistic view, where the government's like, it's not so much we don't like them, we just don't want, like, almost like we don't see them being particularly accepted by society. Like, they're going to be like, as soon as something, they're going to be the outlier. They're trying to be proactive and stopping this. Like,
stop the otherness from occurring.
We can argue whether or not it's right or wrong, but I didn't interpret like they're being, it's not really for nefarious reasons. It's for people are just going to not handle this well.
The government in and of itself can't be nefarious. It's the people within the government that are nefarious. And that's the problem. And that's what the movie shows. I mean, the movie shows, this system could work if not for the like completely morally bankrupt human beings who are part of it, like the cop, like Kristen Stewart, whose personal belief systems are just like the things that are driving them are driving the other people to make these decisions, just like their personal beliefs are driving them to make those decisions.
Yeah. So the big fear is that these organs that are generally considered unhelpful or unuseful, vestigial, will end up being new organs that perform functions. And we can't have that, because then that gets passed down and you're more human than human now. And we can't have that. That's the big fear, because
that starts a schism.
Which is weird, because you would kind of think that in this world where resources are depleting and the air is bad, that if people adapt to that, the government should be happy. Then they don't have to worry. We can cut the EPA funding and everything else. We can stop. We don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
But then people aren't reliant on the government anymore. And that's the problem.
That's true.
I mean, but again, like, that also goes to, you could look at what you brought up about Scott Speedman, Yashar, with making the bars as trying to use it for nefarious purposes. Or you could look at it as the government is trying to hamstring people who are taking it upon themselves to take care of themselves outside of the system, like the other.
Yeah.
I mean,
but again, those people are then viewed as terrorists by the government.
Yeah, but we don't see enough. I mean, we only see really the cop, who seems okay-ish. I don't know.
He seems to revel in the fact that he is human and that there are people that aren't, and they are it is okay to go after them. He doesn't see an issue with that. He makes that very clear. Personally, he makes it clear he has no issue with that.
But like I said, because I don't know enough about the Scott Speedman thing to know, like, is it justified or is he like an asshole? Like, I genuinely don't
one
know.
man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist.
It's terrorist, exactly. Yeah.
Right. And again, they don't make a statement on his character either way.
Right. No. Which allows you to see it one way and me to see it another way and Chris to see it another way. And that's a director, again, like with Men, with Alex Garland, leaving it up to the audience and trusting that his audience is smart enough to figure it out on their own or to make their own decision as to how it's played out. None of us are right or wrong.
Yeah. But I will say that
I'm more right.
got him. Zing, zang, zoom right underneath the fucking door, like grabbing Indiana Jones's hat. I think the
Supreme Court is the most right.
Right. They have said what's right and everything else is wrong.
Literally.
I will say for me, where this stacks up in Cronenberg's films, at least the ones that I've seen, it's in the upper third. I don't know if I'll revisit it anytime soon. I think I would rather revisit the Cronenberg movies that I really resonate with, The Fly and Videodrome. This movie's great. It has a great performance by Viggo Mortensen. That's for sure. That's 100% for sure. He has turned in a great performance in this movie. He's a fantastic actor. Not surprising. He works well with David Cronenberg. This is like third time now they work together, right? Fourth.
It's Eastern History Promises, Dangerous Mind, and this is fourth. Okay.
So, I mean, they're operating at peak efficiency as director and actor. And he's, and good that you can find an actor that you really resonate with as a director. But, it doesn't exceed the quality that I expected. It's just kind of right beneath it. It's not a movie that should be ignored if you're a fan of Cronenberg, even if you're a fan of his more recent, more straightforward narratives, because it does have something to offer.
If you like Cronenberg, it's probably worth a watch just because, he does weird shit and you're probably into weird shit. So there's probably something you'll like. Performances are good. It's my least favorite of the Cronenberg Viggo movies. I honestly don't know if I liked the movie still. I guess I'm happy I watched it because it had a lot of people I enjoy watching on screen. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to revisit this one, probably.
I will definitely be watching this again. It won't be as often maybe as some of his earlier films, but I know that when I watch those, I'll be like, oh yeah, I should check out, because I'll get on a Cronenberg jag and watch Shivers, Rabid, The Brood, Scanners. Like, yeah, I should watch that new one too, and be able to compare and contrast. I the first time, even though I watched it in not the greatest of circumstances, I was pretty excited about it. I think I posted it's the Cronenbergianist of Cronenberg movies.
That's for sure.
Because it tied in a lot of that early stuff and dealt with a lot of the same themes and ideas. And just even the creations looked like creations from earlier films. It's got a Howard Shore score, all that stuff just hit all of those marks for me. So I'll definitely be watching it again when I get in those Cronenberg kicks, which happens pretty regularly. I liked all the performances, and I don't know, I wasn't bothered by the cop for some reason. I think it was his accent that sort of kept me from seeing him doing poor line readings. I don't know. I didn't really, he wasn't in it enough to where I made much of it.
He's just so stilted. I think he had a good look, and I liked everything about him except when there's no emotion.
It's intentional. He can't feel pain. Yeah, right. I mean, again,
Lea Seydoux, Kristen Stewart, that Whippet guy, I really dug.
They were.
I liked Router and Burst. I don't know. Half of these people I'm unfamiliar with, but I enjoyed their performances.
Yeah, they had good performances. Like I said, have no idea what their characters were doing, but the acting was good.
And that, again, for me is kind of the big takeaway here. And for as much as I enjoyed it, I like the performances. Viggo Mortensen's great as always. Kristen Stewart, great as always. She has a lot of range. For anybody that thinks her range was and is defined by Twilight, you're fucking wrong, because Kristen Stewart's a great actress. She's weird.
Spencer.
Yeah,
that's a weird movie.
She's weird, she is weird. She's a weird actress, but that's okay. There need to be people in the industry that are like Tom Hanks that aren't weird, and there need to be people like Kristen Stewart who are weird, or Robert Pattinson. I mean, again, there need to be actors that are willing to do and work on weird projects like this one, because there are actors who would never approach this kind of stuff with a 10-foot pole.
Strangely enough, Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart like arguably have some of the widest ranges of any mainstream actors right now, even though they like were known for
being in a terrible movie.
So like still it's interesting how their careers have evolved.
Well, when you work with talented directors, it kind of makes all the difference, and with a script that suits your abilities as an actor. So Mr. Begley, on that note, where can people find you on the internet if they were looking?
They can find me at wakeupheavy.com, on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Letterboxd at wakeupheavy. And you can find the show wherever you listen to podcasts.
Yashar, do you want me to give you an opportunity to plug anything or no?
Yeah, I was looking at my Letterboxd to see what it is. My Letterboxd says.
Let me give you an opportunity. Yashar, where can people follow you if they want to look for you on the internet?
You follow me on Letterboxd. I'm Mr. Robot 45. I don't even really like Mr. Robot that much. I mean, last season was good, but I have a Twitter that I don't use, so I don't even know what my handle is. I think it's at Yashar Pirasteh or at Pirasteh. I have social media. There's just not much of interest to anyone.
Not a lot of social media posting going on.
No, not a lot of the socials.
Go live your life. Don't post on social media about it, for fuck's sake.
Exactly.
Yeah. As for me, cstachiw.com, cstachiw.com. That's my link tree. Go there for all the stuff that I work on, which is numerous in quantity and, I think it's pretty good in quality. As for this show, Kulturecast.com, patreon.com/Kulturecast, all the places you can go to check out the things that I work on. Or no, all you can go there to kick a couple dollars our way if you're into that. If not, just give us a listen. That's more than enough. And Mark, Yashar, thank you for joining me. Cronenberg, who knows? This is his last movie, even.
Unlikely, but
I mean, who knows? It took him a long enough time to make something since this movie. So
yeah, it was like 7 years,
8 years, 2014. So on that note, I guess we'll catch you on the next episode.